So hello everyone. We are into another Level Up with Glific webinar where we would be exploring custom expressions and contact variables to make our flows smarter. We have Gautam to walk you through the same. I'll be handing over to Gautam, and after the presentation, we could have discussions and live question and answer session answering your queries. And meanwhile, if you have queries, you can keep on posting in the chat and we would try our best to answer them. If not, then we'll obviously come back and respond to your queries. Yeah, over to you, Gautam.
Krish, am I audible?
Yes, audible to me. Ashwarya, you can also. Fine.
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay. Just during the call, if I ask if I'm audible, it will be great if one of the audience also can say that, because then we know it's really working, right?
It's working.
Perfect. Thanks.
Go
Thanks.
ahead, Gautam.
So,
Go
okay. So first question, since we're doing something called custom expressions, how many of you here have used custom expressions? Can you just type a yes in the chat window or a no? Because that way I'll then make this simple or complicated.
Gautam, can you tell us again what custom expressions are, or is it?
That's the best answer. If you have no clue what a custom expression is, you can put a question mark. Thank you, Sophie. Okay. I also get answers with emotions like Priya has put it when she puts a no in caps. So definitely got it. Brilliant. Cool. How many of you have used contact variables? Again, yes, no, question mark. Okay, Sophie, a lot of contact variables. Okay. Thank you. So, the reason why I wanted to ask all of this, like I said, A, so that I can recalibrate this to what we require. B, also to set expectations. Some of you had filled in the response to what you want the session to be. Since a lot of you have gone through what a contact variable is, I will not go into it in great detail, but during the hands-on section, you will end up seeing a contact variable in action, right? So if you have any questions, you can ask me questions about contact variables at the end, right? This is primarily designed for people who are going to be using a piece of code. A custom expression is a piece of code. Let me share screen. Let me know once the screen is visible.
Yes.
Yeah,
Great,
visible.
right? So we want to see a lot of CEs on the presentation. Basically means custom expressions, right? Like I said, this session is basically going to go into some depth about how you can use a custom expression. I've not gone into what it is at this point, but how you can use it in your work, right? It will not go into too much of contact variables. So it is meant for an audience which is used or has designed flows to some extent and want to add additional logic or additional validation like date, or let's say how much time has a person taken, etc. Right? So that's what this session is for, or that's whom this session is for, right? At any point, if you have any questions, please put the questions in the chat window. I will come back at the end of the session and go through it. So that way the flow is not broken. One. Two, I need all of you to identify one flow where you can insert certain custom expressions. I hope you can find in your own chatbots a trial flow, a demo flow, etc. Just keep that open, right? So because at the end of the session, you will be inserting a custom expression in one flow, right? Sorry, did it go back to did it exit the slideshow? Looks like it did.
Yes.
Cool. So very, very quickly, custom expression. You understand what a node is, right? If there's anyone who does not understand what a node is, please let me know. You can type on the chat saying, I don't know what a node is. So that way I will talk about what a node is. A node is this box. In our flow editor, we have boxes. So every box is a node. Can you see my flow editor? Right, this blue thing is a node. So every box here is a node, right? So custom expression is basically a line of code you can insert into a node. It allows you to do things beyond what you can traditionally see or think is possible inside Glific. What does it allow you to do? Because it is a piece of code, it's like, I'm assuming all of you have seen recipes, right? In recipes, you'll have a set of uh, contents which you'll mix together in a particular ratio and proportion to get something, some food. So this is a custom expression will be like the content. There's no ratio, there's no proportion, it's just raw. You can do whatever you want to do with it. Add logic, using that logic, route people to different things, make them go into different flows, make them go into different parts of the flows. You can store calculated values. You will see some examples in this session. Now, where do you use it? There is typically two nodes. One node is what is called a split by expression node, right? Where you can split by custom expression and you can put in the expression there, and based on the rules, this is the image on the left side of my screen. Based on the rules, you can do certain things.
GP, I think it's better if you can zoom in. It's a little light. It's not.
Right? Is this better? Thanks, Aishwarya. So the first one is the split by custom expression node. At any point you want to kind of in parallel go to your own flow editors and search for these nodes, please do that, right? So this is a split by custom expression. You put in the expression here, right? This is a simple if some condition is true, do something, else do something, right? Because you have defined if the person has opted in and the status is true, then do one, else two. And below, if you come, it says if the number is equal to one, you categorize it as one. If the number is two, categorize it as two. And now you can do any logic. So if someone comes into your chatbot and you do not want them to keep opting in again and again, you can use this to make sure that if they're already opted in, do one. In one, you skip and go to the next part of the flow. If it comes to two, which means that they're not opted in, you can get them to opt in, right? The other place where you use this is, sorry. Oops, I have no idea. Yeah, is in your update contacts, right? So let's say in this example, I wanted to update the difference in time, in seconds, between when the person started the flow and when the person ended the flow. I've updated this into my contact. So for the rest of the person's engagement, as long as I do not overwrite this particular variable called as timer, how much time they've taken to complete the flow is stored. Right? If there are any questions, since this is basic concept, please put in your questions or feel free to unmute and ask only this part. If there's something you want me to repeat, I can do the same.
Hi, GP. I have a doubt.
Sure.
Yeah. So for this formulas that have been written here, such as this
Mhm.
time difference, which you have used for update contact, this is some
Mhm.
standard formulas which has to be followed.
Yes, there are different ways of writing the same thing. In the next part of the slides, you will see the different options, or you will see some of these custom expressions which are there. However, if you're an advanced user, you will know how to write code. So then at that point, you can write it however you want. Right? Just as long as you walk away from the slide saying that, okay, a custom expression is a piece of code. It allows me to do things beyond what is traditionally possible inside the flow editor of Glific. That's great. As long as you know that there are two places where you can use this, which is update contact or split by custom expression, that's good enough. Right. Now I'll move on just to kind of, in the interest of time. Typically, we have seen people using custom expressions to kind of send targeted message. So let's say you want to split by um, a very complex condition. If the user is a male who is greater than the age of 18 and is left-handed, then do one, else do two. And below, if you say one is defined as, oh, wow, you are probably very smart, and two says, wow, you must be very creative, then that's how you use a custom expression, because typically you will not be able to split and target users in this very, very, narrow field. Typically, you can also do conditional flow, custom expressions for conditions in the flow. So that way, let's say the user has, let's say you have a long flow, and then there is opt-in, there is registration, and there is a quiz. And let's say based on the quiz score, you want to take them to another part of the quiz, you can use a custom expression to do that. Right. You can also use this to kind of create dynamic content delivery. So based on the person's status, interest, again, this is a split, right? You split it and you ensure that they get only what is relevant to them. So typically, it looks like what I've shown here. Open arrow bracket percentage equal to whatever is the expression, percentage close, right? This might be sounding very, very overwhelming, but this is just getting the theory out of the way. The rest of it will be fairly hands-on and fun, right? Any questions so far? Please put it into the chat, else I will proceed. Simple. If you have your own flow editor open, feel free to copy these two variables, right? Custom expressions, today's date. So you can copy everything from percentage equal to time now. Time is a function, dot now again is a function. strf time again is a function. You're formatting it saying, I want it like this, which is month, day, year. This gives you today's date in month, date, year format. Or if you use the other expression, which again does the same thing, which is timex, today, Asia, Kolkata is the time zone, right? Open bracket, pipe symbol, close this thing, and then you say date to string percentage this. Then it gives you today's date as a string in whatever is a time zone. Do you guys want me to paste this into the chat window so you can try this out in your own flow editors? Let me actually do that. This is 1 and this is 2. Now let me show you just how to do it in case you do not know how to do it. Can you see my flow editor?
Yes, yes. Okay.
Right, perfect. So let's say I want to just set today, right? I've updated a contact called as today. I put in this, right? And next, I've called out the variable where it is stored, right? It is stored in a contact field called as today. So I've said, thank you for joining us today at the rate contact.fields.today to learn about custom expressions. So if I run that, I'm just going to say yes. It'll say, thank you for joining us today. Here month, date. Right? Similarly, there's a custom expression for time. Why don't I do this? I will give you guys 1 minute to just quickly open up your editor. Try these two custom expressions out. If you want me to share this flow, I can do it post the call. But this is what you have to do. Let me know if you are able to get your time for your date your date, right? Let me also paste the time to be safe. This will give you time in hour, minute, and second. Aishwarya, I'll just hold on to your question. Do you guys want to kind of quickly try this out? Anyone who does not want to can just say no. Anyone who wants to just say yes. So that way I give you guys time to try it out. And if there's any issues, I can help quickly solve this. Thanks, Srichan. If anyone wants me to go back to a different node, please let me know.
Gautam, sorry, quick question. I joined, I think, after you moved from the presentation slide to this.
Mhm.
So with this expression, I can create a custom variable against a contact and add this, right?
Yes. Yes. So right now I've only shown two things, which is date
Mhm.
and time.
Okay.
Right. Thanks, Sophie.
So are any of these one of those standard variables, or should I create one?
You can create one, right? You might want to have multiple timers, for example. You might want to say flow start time and then flow mid time and flow end time. So you will have three different times.
Okay.
You might have three different dates saying uh, registration date, I don't know, lesson week 1 date, week 2 date, week 3 date, whatever. So you might want to have multiple variables. So feel free to create whatever you want. Are you guys okay trying this and maybe just go through the presentation?
Can you just click on the update contact box, the set time now that you've defined? No, and you've given this expression. That's
Right.
fine.
So this puts it in hour, minute, second. Now, just kind of going to the next bit, which was about calculating. So some examples, right? Skipping opted in users. Anyone wants to try this out? There are different ways of trying it out, but I will let this kind of go for now. I will come back to this. I will quickly go to this bit, right? Because we are doing something related to this, I think this will be fairly fun. If all of you could just open up any sample flow of yours, right? Go to the very start of your flow like this. Wherever this is because I need you guys to use this. I've set a time underscore start to this particular custom expression, which is basically your time custom expression. I've gone to the very end of the flow, right? Where I've entered this flow and I've set a time underscore end with again the same custom expression. After which I have done a difference, which is time taken, which is this particular custom expression, right? And now I'll just do a quick preview of how it looks on your screen. You can see that I have started this. Can you see my simulator?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Great. So you can see that I've started this particular flow at 15:22, right? 15:20, 22 seconds. And now the time is 3:25. So let me just go ahead and do something here. 0909 20 20. Right. I have taken 3:22 seconds to complete this. So if you do this, at least you know exactly how much time the person has taken in terms of seconds. So I want you guys to try this out for a flow of your choice, right? All the expressions which you require to use are here. The first expression which you need to use is the date time now expression, which is, again, I will copy paste for the sake of ease. Start and end time with this C. And then the calculation of difference is here. And now this. So you will get this in seconds. Remember to call the contact variable out as a message, otherwise you will not see the time difference. Are you guys okay doing this hands-on? Sure. Meghna, I'll do that. So Sophie had a question which I thought was very important. She said, I have done the same thing, which is date using split by contact field. So Sophie, in your case, what you've done is you've done it. So just giving you guys context into what Sophie is doing. They are basically sending content or reminders to uh, uh, teachers based on a logic which is odd and even dates, right? So that way, if the student comes in on day one, and let's say they want the student to kind of take the next content on day 4, because they've used odd and even, or because they've used certain rules, they can send reminders only on those days. Otherwise, the date counter is going on in the background, right? So, Sophie, what you've done is basically using same custom expression, using it in the node called a split by contact field, where to split by contact field, before your split by contact field, you have updated the contact field with the counter or the date. Does that make sense? If you want, you can go to your screen and I can like explain how that works, if you're willing to kind of share your screen. Is anyone facing an issue to insert start time, end time, and time difference? If yes, please let me know.
Yeah, my question was actually not related to the time thing, but more to the registration or opted in example. So there it made a lot of sense
Oh,
to me to
perfect.
just use the
Perfect.
contact field variable. So I was wondering, so for the time thing, so if I guess if it's not like a categorical variable that you can split easily with a contact variable, it makes sense to me to use a custom expression. But otherwise, if it's a categorical variable, would you agree that it makes more sense to just use the contact field split, so like the split by contact field node instead of the split by custom expression node?
So I'll just ask you to wait till the end of the presentation, because that is one of the questions which I would want to discuss. Ankita, you had a question?
No, and I got stuck actually. So
Okay.
I have just started one basic flow, and I have entered split by update contact, and then I
Okay.
have added this time difference.
Sure. Okay.
So after that, I have to like
Hold on.
update contact.
Let me show you this once again, right?
Mhm.
In fact, let's do this. Uh, just for the sake of ease, I'm copying this. I'm going to the very top of my flow, right? It says, do you want to agree to start? I'm just going to create an empty node. I'm going to call this send a message, new flow start. I don't know how many of you know this, but basically a flow editor works based on placement. So now you can see this node is the flow start. If I move this to a place higher than that node, this becomes the flow start, right? New flow start is here. I'm going to call a new contact. So if you come here, you'll see something called as update the contact. I'm going to call this time underscore start underscore 2. And I'm going to paste this expression as it is, right? Now I'm going to come here. I'm going to say send contact a message. You started this flow at the rate. This is just for me to see if the values got stored at the rate contact dot feeds dot timer. What did I call it? Start. Just give me a minute. I don't know
Time.
what I called it.
Time.
Time
Timer start
start
underscore time.
right? So I've called it. Now I'm just going to say do an activity. So let's say I'm going to, or just for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to wait for time. Wait for time. And if you set wait for time to 0, it waits for about 5 seconds, give or take. Then I'm going to again call the I'm going to create a node where I'm going to create a custom variable called as update contact time dot end underscore 2, and I'm going to put this. So now 2 variables have time in it, one at the point where it started, one at the point where it ended. Now all that is left is to show how much time it's taken, right? So I just go to, I copy this, right? And I say update the contact, and I'm going to say time underscore time taken underscore 2. And in this case, set it to this expression which I shared. And then I'm just going to print it. You look at the rate contact dot fields dot time underscore time taken 2. Now I'm going to publish this. I'm going to refresh this. It said new flow start, which is what is happening here. Then it said time started 15, 30, 40 seconds, right? Then it waited for 5 seconds. It will have set time end to. Now the problem is, if you see what I've done, like a fool, I copy pasted the custom expression without changing. What is the contact field I've saved the first time in? What's it called?
Timer start time.
So it was
Start.
time underscore start underscore 2. And when did I end? Time underscore end underscore 2. Right? If you use the correct variable, and if I'm going to hit publish again, now I redo this. Started at 15, 34, 49 seconds. I took 4 seconds to finish this flow, right? How can you use this? Because that's a big question, right? How can you use this? Anyone who wants to time how much time someone has taken to kind of go from start to end of, let's say, registration, let's say anything, any flow, you can do that. Where else can you use this kind of timer? Please unmute and just share ideas, just so that we know how you are thinking.
Can I go?
So, Puneet.
Hey, so I was thinking, I mean, last call I had a discussion with Tejas on the certificate part, right? Like where
Mhm,
they were discussing custom certificate.
mhm,
So if we are building like a plan on, like we are building like a capacity building program, right? Like,
mhm,
and if we can have like a quiz questions,
mhm,
and you whatever they have gone through the article, whatever we have given, and you ask like 5 questions, right? And then
mhm, mhm,
at the end of you finished in like sort of more like a positive reinforcement, right? Like you
mhm,
finish this in
mhm,
this many minutes or this many seconds.
mhm,
uh,
mhm.
I could see you this use case, like used there.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Definitely one use case you can do. What else can you do?
It can also be used to add to the gamified perspective of the education bit where activities are shared to
Mhm,
students and quizzes are taken. So if there is a set time, there is a seriousness in taking the quiz, and there is some credibility in the answers that they've got. I mean, I'm not talking about the younger kids, but if there is something related to the quiz leaderboard engagement of sorts, I
mhm.
think then there this timer could be used.
Perfect. Where else can you use it? I will go back to slides after this, but I just want you to start thinking of use cases. How many of you here have created flows? Just in the chat window, can you just type yes? Puneet has. Sophie has. Great. Ankita, yes. Meghna.
Gautam, I have a use case, but I would use the date, not the time, I think.
Mhm,
So we have teachers submit data through different flows on students before and after, sort of.
mhm, mhm,
Um, and what I currently calculate, when I download the data in a different software is how
mhm.
many days were between the before and after that the teacher
Perfect.
submitted the data.
Perfect.
So I think using contact field variables, I could calculate that in Glyfic. And basically, if I wanted to tell the teacher, like you submitted, you took maybe 3 weeks. I don't know how I would do the weeks thing. I could just display days, probably easier.
Mm,
To submit the after data after you submitted the before data on a specific student.
yeah, you can do that. You can do that definitely, right? It gives you an idea. In fact, there are multiple use cases to what you said. But just quickly coming back to time for a second, all of us create flows, right? Do we know exactly how much time a person takes for different sections of the flow? So I'll give you one example, right? Where does Foundation has a chatbot called as Kunji, which basically is designed for officials to ask questions on policies. So how do you do it? You will say hi, then it'll say, okay, what do you want to do? Ask a question or change language. You say ask a question. That's when the timer starts. Then it'll send you a message saying you can ask a question either by speech or by text. Now, if you go into speech, because we are calling another service, which is called as Bashni, you can do speech to text, text to speech using that. You start another timer saying speech to text timer start. Then you time how much time that particular section takes. Then where it goes into the AI, where it is going to the LLM to retrieve the answer for the question, we start another timer there and we end another timer once the answer comes. So basically one whole flow, you are chunking into different sections based on what you want to measure, and you're measuring the time taken. So tomorrow, if I tell you, hey, which part of your flow is taking the highest amount of time, you suddenly have an answer. How many of you use locations in your flows? Just type why if you use locations. 8, right? So there are people who use locations. Typically, we have seen that people take time to put in locations. There's some fear, there's some doubt, right? So you can put something where you put a timer starting before location and a timer starting after location. So you know if people are actually having some doubt before sharing their location. So if there's anything which is greater than, let's say, 5 or 10 seconds, whatever your benchmark is, suddenly you know how you can optimize them. Then maybe you can give them a message saying, no, don't worry, we will not misuse your location, whatever, right? Are more use cases now coming to your mind about how you can use this timer? I hope so. But I'll just share the story because Redis Foundation was able to put in timers like this. They were able to shave about 10 seconds from a larger flow experience. So which took, let's say the flow experience took about 40 or 50 seconds. Because they timed everything, they were able to identify where more time was being taken and they were able to save time. So about 10 seconds got saved. Doesn't seem much, but if you're a user, you're getting through the whole flow in 30 seconds, that's a big difference to you. Right. If you have any questions, I'll pause. Now we have seen two things. We have seen how contact variables are being used in action. You have seen how custom expressions are being used in action. Hopefully you have inserted this in one or two of your flows. Do you want me to go back to the presentation and share a few more custom expressions? Or if you have questions, I can pause now, change track, take questions, clear them, and then go to the presentation. Because once you see the custom expressions, you will now know how to implement them yourselves.
Gautam, I have a question. So we would be interested in sending messages to teachers that haven't been active on the bot for a certain amount of time.
Sure.
How could we do that? Would we, because there isn't like a flow they go through that would trigger the second sort of, like inactivity measurement,
Yes.
like a week or something.
So I have a similar thing, Pratham. So currently what I'm doing is I am recording everyday transactions in Google Sheet.
Okay.
And I'm computing there as to when they are last active and then sending them different nudges and messages. Considering
Okay.
looking of contact variables, I'm wondering if with an expression I can check from today's time to, let's say, someone who's not been active in 48 hours, I can send them a message.
Yeah, you can. So there is something called as background flows that is definitely not part of this larger presentation. But let's say you store the date of activity for every user, right? Using this custom expression, right? Then you have another background flow where every day you trigger it to run that particular date. And then the difference between the user's last active date and today, you'll get a difference value.
Yeah.
Right? That's where you use a split by custom expression to say if, let's say they're storing the contact variable, the difference in date as days since last active. Let's say you're storing it there. Then you use what we've shown here. So, yeah. So let's say you use this, what I've highlighted. I'm zooming in here. If @contact.fields.date days since last active is equal to, let's say 2, comma, do 1, else do 0. And then like shown here in this image, you set has number equal to 1, has number equal to 0. And then if it is 1, basically 1 is just a flag, right? Then you can do whatever you want, send a HSM message, whatever you want to do.
Got it.
Actually, let me do one thing. You guys have now understood the basic concept of a custom expression. If there are any questions about how you can use it in your own use case, I will take it. If you have any larger conceptual questions, I'll take it. Else, there is this whole documentation in our documentation called as custom expressions with a cheat sheet. You can find a set of custom expressions here. So I'll take questions now. It's also 3:45. We have about 5 to 10 more minutes to end. I would want to end with a survey, so please do not drop off before you complete the survey. But if you have any questions, happy to take them now. Anyone who is feeling, array, this is too fast, samajh nahi aa raha hai, feel free to ask. I can re-explain.
So, Gautam, I need one suggestion. So,
Sure.
do you think that it's better we store these variables, as in like one Sri Chandra mentioned, right? Like understanding about the flow activity or engagement in a contact variable, than maintaining outside the system. Like, what do you think
Great,
is
great,
better?
great. So let's say you are having something like a date of registration or date of joining bot, which is fixed. There's no place where you'll overwrite it.
Okay.
Then you keep it in your contact variable. Or let's say, like Srichand said, you want to measure date of last activity, right? That makes sense because again, you're going to use that, but that will get overwritten. So that's fine to keep as a contact variable.
Okay.
But let's say you want to log it. When did student take lesson 1? When did student take lesson 2? When did student take lesson 3? That you cannot afford to overwrite. So that I would keep outside the system,
Understood. Okay. Got
right?
it.
But let's say I have 5 chapters, each with, let's say, 2 lessons each. Then I will say date of starting, date of starting chapter 1, date of starting ending chapter 1, right? Then date of starting chapter 2, date of ending chapter 2, assuming that they take time to finish the lessons inside the chapter.
Understood.
So
Okay.
then tomorrow you want to gamify, like Aishwarya said, or you want to add this into your um, certificate, or you want to measure people and appreciate people who have finished consuming content faster than normal. All of that using a contact variable is better.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Thanks. Thanks.
Vijay, I will not ask you if you have any questions, but very quickly, Bhavani, Priya, Meghna, I know you were not able to follow through, but I hope that the presentation we share after this is helpful. So Bhavani, Priya, Ankita, Sharanya, Nitya, Rashmi, Prerna, Asha, Jaren, any questions? Thank you, Bhavani. Others, can I ask you to quickly put in your thank
These
you.
are the expressions the same, no? For all wherever we are using. Same expressions.
It'll
Okay.
you can write the same expression. So you have to understand that some of the expressions will call existing pieces of code functions, right? So if you're using different functions for the same thing, you can,
Okay.
right? But the format more or less will be the same,
Okay.
right?
Thank you.
So I'm assuming that there are no questions. Priyesh, do we have a end survey?
Yes, Gautam. So if no more questions, I'll just launch
We'll
the
start the survey, but what we'll do is we'll leave the space open for anyone who has questions on use cases. Hey, can I use it like this? So that space is open now. Anyone wants to kind of go into that kind of conversation, we are here. But please do take the survey. It will help us to understand how better we can approach complex topics like this.
everyone would receive on their screen. There are 5 questions. I would request everyone, please fill in the same. First 3 are mandatory and the other 2 are not, but I would urge and request if the question number 4th and 5th, you could take out some time and write it out. It would really help us to improve on our webinars.
Right. And as soon as you finish this, I have two more things to share, and I think these are fairly important. So it'll be for it'll be useful for everyone. But I don't want to disturb this. So as soon as you're done with the survey, just put a yes. I'll quickly run through these two things. I have 4 yeses. I'll just wait for 2 more yeses. One more to go. Thanks, Prerna. Just one more person. Thank you. While others are filling in, I just hope you can, I can speak while you listen. Update number 1, there are 2 important blogs. Anyone who is doing broadcasting, where you're sending HSM messages to users, Facebook has made some changes. We have put out 2 blogs. One on what the new costing is, because it's a important change. And linked to that in the bottom, there's another blog on how you can understand how many users are getting messages, how many are not, how you can implement a dashboard for yourself. So that is call out number 1. If you want, I can paste the link to one of the blogs here because they're linked. You can find the other blog from there. Does anyone want me to paste it here, or can you guys go to the Glific blog section? Okay. Priyesh, can you just go to the blogs and pull up
Yes.
the blog on WhatsApp changes? That is point number 1. Point
I'm
number
doing that.
2, Aishwarya, I need you to kind of quickly talk about the accelerator. Yeah.
Sure. All right. So as you all know that we have an accelerator program that we have launched this year, and the applications have gotten open this year, and it's happening on June 19th and 20th. So we have people here who were part of the accelerator previous year, Srichand, Derin. So just requesting you all to actually share the information about the accelerator that's happening here in your networks, basically with whoever you feel could utilize this opportunity. Yeah, please just share it among your uh, networks and peers. So just sharing the link here of the page for information which you can actually share it across in your network. I'll also share a brochure with the mail that comes after the webinar. Just one request. Thanks.
Thanks, Aishwarya. We do hope that you're able to share it in your networks to anyone. I have shared one link which is called WhatsApp Business Template Changes, What You Need to Know 2025. That's based on changes as of 9th April. The second link which Priyesh has shared is the linked article, which is called Meta's HSM Message Frequency Limits, what they mean and how you can adapt. Those have got certain steps and a dashboard you can implement to kind of understand how many users might not be getting messages if you broadcast as marketing messages. Right. Aishwarya shared a link on the accelerator. So we'll post. I think Srichand, you had your hand raised, so we can take a question.
Thanks. I just wanted to check if there's if you have an updated estimate calculator with the with the new per message billing.
Is this for the when you say per message billing, are you talking about the
The template
broadcast
charges.
So,
Yeah.
so the rates are there. If you scroll up in the same, you'll find the rates there. But however, if you go to the WhatsApp business the other one, which is Meta's HSM frequency limits, there's a tool, basically a ChatGPT based tool we have linked, where you can ask it to help you draft HSM messages, right? You'll have to test it because Meta is constantly updating their rules. So some of the things which this suggests might get rejected. So you can use it to draft. After you draft, it'll ask you a question saying how many people will you send it to? I can help you estimate the cost. You can estimate the cost there. Aishwarya?
Um, so with the latest update that we've had around the pricing, there is also a pricing calculator on the website of our Glific, Shrichan. So it's on the pricing page. So yeah, with a few inputs, you will be able to get an estimate.
Thanks. Thanks. Sorry, it's like I've missed it on the blog.
No, it's not on the blog. It's on the website. I'm just pasting the link here.
Oh, thank you.
You can scroll down. Thanks.
Awesome, guys. Does anyone want to kind of ask about use cases? If yes, we can do that now. Else, feel free to drop off. We will send you the presentation and the documentation link. At any point, if you have any questions on expressions, you can feel free to reach out.
So, Gautam, I
Mhm.
mean, in a broad sense, one is on gamification and one is on the lesson plan, and the other one was to understand the efficiency of the flow that we have created, right? Like these are
Mhm.
like the three broad use cases. I mean, which we understood. Apart from this, have you seen any other use cases? That could help. I don't know. I have not thought about it. Like as of now, these are some of the use cases that I could think of that can be directly implemented, for the use for the program or whatever we are running. But I mean, happy to hear if you have seen any other use cases could be of help to us.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I think Quest is using custom expressions to compute scores on assessments. So students fill in answers and they compute score and they give you a answer
Okay. Like a
accordingly,
quiz. Like a quiz.
like a quiz.
Okay. Okay.
You can use custom expressions. Anything from your experience, Piyush and Aishwarya or Sangeeta? Or in fact, since the whole group, is there anyone else who's used it in a different way?
So once I have used custom expression in parsing the email ID so that I can send the correct user in the correct respective collection. So, and also in date and time at places to check that when the next message date has come up by taking over difference between the current date, the system date and the next date. So accordingly, then the message is sent. So those places I have used custom expressions.
I think I would use custom expressions if so. I do a lot of data cleaning on Glyphic using something called as a background flow.
Okay.
Background flow is something which runs in the background. You just set a timer saying at this point, trigger it. It'll get triggered and then it'll run because it's not sending messages to users. It doesn't affect anybody's um, what do you say? User experience. But because it's running in the background, usually I'll correct state names, district names, block names. If they have not filled in UDICE values, I run something to fill in UDICE values. So there, if I want to update collections based on what users have said, I can use custom expressions.
Understood. Yeah, makes sense. Got it.
Sophie had one question, which was a good one, but she's dropped off. She asked us, can we use custom expressions or split by contact field, right? If you have something already in a contact variable in the contact field, then you can split by contact field because we made that only to make your life easy.
Right.
However, let's say you do not have it. Let's say you're splitting by calculation of score, which is going to happen at the end of the flow, and it's not being stored in the contact variable, then you'll have to use a custom expression,
Understood. Okay.
right? Or let's say you're routing users and using something which is not in a, which is based on results in the flow, right? Then you'll use a custom expression,
Right. Like
split by custom expression.
right, when it is like a local variable, not a global variable, and then we can use.
Yeah, yeah.
Understood. So the background flow that you spoke about, that is in the settings.
Let me just share screen.
Yeah.
One more. I do not know why
And
it
during the
is.
creation of the flow process, where you say you want to create flows, and then there is an option of set as background flow. Is that what you're talking about?
Is my screen visible?
Yes, it is.
So let's say I go to flows. I create a flow from scratch. And here, like Aishwarya said in the box, it's called run this flow in the background.
Understood.
So
Wow.
let me
Okay.
just give you a sample background flow test. Right, and I say configure. Just for the sake of it, right? I'm going to keep this very, very simple. Split by. I can do custom expression, but since I'm just doing a demo of how I do it, let's say split by contact field, and let's say contact field is is registered as only the phrase yes. I'm going to say okay. Now this I want to add to a collection. Add to collection. Let's say uh, uh, any test collections you guys know I can show. Let's say AAA test. I don't know what this is. AAA test and other. Now when I hit publish, and then let's say I go to quick tools triggers. I know you know how to use triggers. I trigger this to run at the midnight almost every alternate day. Then continuously it'll keep on going through the thing and adding people as required into the collection. So
Okay.
you can add, you can remove, you can correct, you can do a lot of things using background variables or
All right.
background flows.
Okay. Yeah, this was helpful. Thanks a lot, Gautam.
No worries. Awesome. Thank you
Yeah.
then. I will just request Aishwarya, Priyesh, Vijay, and Srijit and Sangeeta to stay back.
Okay, I'm
Sichan,
stopping
Mayank.
the recording for now.
I thought you stopped long ago.
No, I thought these questions would help, so be a part of it would be great.
Okay, awesome. Thanks,